A warm welcome to our viewers here in Nigeria and around the world. I'm Layo Olarinde. Here are top stories within the half hour. Heavy rains in Cilacap, Indonesia leaves 18 people dead with 7 others missing. UN Security Council passes U.S. draft resolution on Gaza peace plan. Plus, Nigerian authorities vow swift rescue of schoolgirls abducted in Kebbi State. Welcome once again to the program. At least 18 people have been killed after rain-triggered landslides swept through 2 areas in Indonesia's central Java province. Authorities say that search operations remain on hold due to the dangerous weather conditions. In Cilacap, a landslide buried a dozen homes in the Siebong village, with victims trapped between 3 to 8 meters deep. Officials confirmed that 16 people have died there, while 7 others remain missing. Well, in a separate incident in Banjarnegara, 2 people were killed and 27 others reported missing after the weekend landslide that damaged dozens of houses and farmland. Indonesia's wet season, which began in September, is expected to last until April. It continues to bring heightened risk to extreme rainfall, flooding, and landslides. The United Nations Security Council has approved a U.S.-drafted resolution endorsing U.S. President Donald Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza, including the creation of the International Stabilization Force, ISF. 13 countries have supported this resolution with no votes against. However, Russia and China abstained from the vote. According to the U.S., the force will include contributions from several countries which are yet to be named. UN officials say this decision marks a significant step towards consolidating the ceasefire in Gaza. However, Hamas has rejected the plan, arguing that it fails to meet Palestinian demands and places Gaza under what it calls an imposition of international control. The group has also criticized provisions allowing the new force to operate inside Gaza, claiming it compromises neutrality and favors Israeli interests. Under the resolution, the International Stabilization Force will also work alongside Israel, Egypt, and a newly trained Palestinian police unit to secure border areas and to help disarm non-state armed groups, including Hamas. The U.S. ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, says the force will be responsible for area security, supporting demilitarization, and ensuring civilian safety.
The resolution today provides troop-contributing countries with the framework they need for moving forward with the International Stabilization Force, and global financial institutions the mechanisms they need for channeling investment, respectively. The former will support a region free from Hamas's grip, and the latter, Gaza's reconstruction and development. The path to prosperity, colleagues, requires security first. Security is the oxygen that governance, that development needs to live and to thrive. The International Stabilization Force will stabilize the security environment, support the demilitarization of Gaza, dismantle terrorist infrastructure, decommission weapons, and maintain the safety of Palestinian civilians. We believe that the investment that will follow adoption today will revitalize Gaza's economy, providing Palestinians with an opportunity instead of saddling them with perpetual reliance on aid. We look forward to working alongside the World Bank to that end as it supports Gaza's long-term redevelopment, even as we address the immediate and dire humanitarian needs. President Trump's historic 20-point plan marked the beginning of what will be a strong, stable, and prosperous region, united in rejecting the path of violence, hatred, and terror. Colleagues, and I say this to the world, this resolution today is just the beginning. An adoption of resolution today demonstrates the overwhelming support for the President's vision for a stable Gaza where Palestinians determine their own destiny, free from terrorist rule and violence. And under President Trump's bold leadership, the United States will continue to deliver results alongside our many partners. We will seize the opportunity today to end decades of bloodshed and make lasting peace a reality.
President Trump has confirmed that the United States will sell F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia, and this is coming ahead of his White House meeting with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The leaders are expected to discuss defense and civilian nuclear cooperation and during the visit. And this is the Crown Prince's first trip to Washington since the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi 7 years ago. A U.S. intelligence assessment previously concluded back then that the Crown Prince approved the operation that led to Khashoggi's death, a murder, a claim the prince denied. Prince Mohammed's last visit was during Trump's first term in 2018, and it was the same year as Khashoggi's murder in Turkey. Well, President Donald Trump has suggested he would consider military strikes in Mexico and Colombia as part of efforts to combat the flow of drugs into the United States. Speaking at the White House, President Trump indicated that action against drug-producing facilities in Colombia and possible operations in Mexico were options he would support if they helped save lives. However, he did not confirm whether he would seek permission from Mexico for any such strike. The comments come after U.S. strikes on what Washington described as Venezuelan narco boats. Well, President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, has rejected any possibility of U.S. military intervention in her country. Well, President Trump has also engaged in a public feud with Colombian President Gustavo Petro, imposing sanctions and accusing him of supporting the drug trade, while President Petro has labeled the U.S. an oppressive regime.
Would I launch strikes in Mexico to stop drugs? It's okay with me. Whatever we have to do to stop drugs. Mexico is... Look, I looked at Mexico City over the weekend. There's some big problems over there. If we had to, would we do there what we've done to the waterways? You know, there's almost no drugs coming in through our waterways anymore. Isn't it down like 85%?
It is, sir.
I don't know who the 15% would be. It wouldn't be you.
No, that's for sure.
No, I think it's been...
Tons and tons of
you would say that's a big signal.
Absolutely.
We have almost no drugs coming into our country by the sea, by, you know, the waterways. And you know why, okay? I mean, it's pretty obvious. Would I do that on the land corridors? I would absolutely. Look, every boat we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. Not to mention the destruction of families. These families are decimated forever. The mother, the father, the children, they never recover really from it. You know, when you lose somebody, like the way they live, if you lose them, but the way they die is horrible. So when we knock out a boat and we save 25,000 lives, that's great. Now, do I feel the same way about the corridors that they use? We know every one of them. We have every one of those corridors under major surveillance. We have nobody coming in through our southern border. But we know exactly how they get their things here, how they get the drugs here, fentanyl, cocaine. Colombia has cocaine factories where they make cocaine. Would I knock out those factories? I would be proud to do it personally. I didn't say I'm doing it, but I would be proud to do it because we're going to save millions of lives by doing it.
The United States House of Representatives Subcommittee on Africa has set Thursday, November 20, 2025 as the date to begin an investigation into President Donald Trump's recent redesignation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern over Christian killings in the country. The invite to the members of the Committee on Foreign Affairs is scheduled for 11 a.m. in room 2172 of the Rayburn House Office Building, and it's available via live webcast and will be chaired by Republican Representative Chris Smith. It will feature 2 panels of witnesses, including senior U.S. State Department officials and Nigerian religious leaders. President Trump's designation comes amid repeated attacks on Christian communities in Nigeria, including killings by Islamic extremist groups, kidnappings, and the destruction of churches. Or later today, also the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Michael Waltz, will be hosting a special event focused on combating religious violence and the killing of Christians in Nigeria, which is called a key Trump administration priority. U.S. rapper Nicki Minaj is also expected to be making a speech. In northern Nigeria, Maga in Kebbi State is still reeling from a school kidnapping that has left several families in agony. 25 schoolgirls from the Government Girls Comprehensive Senior Secondary School, GGCSS, remain in captivity after they were abducted from their school while sleeping on Sunday night. The bandits also killed the school's vice principal, Hassan Makuku. Calls for swift intervention by the government and security agencies have intensified as the Kebbi State Governor, Nasir Idris, says they are doing everything possible to rescue the schoolgirls. Well, the relatives of the late school official, Malam Makuku, are seeking justice and support for their family.
Maga village in Danko Wasagu local government area of Kebbi State shares a border with neighboring Zamfara State in northwest Nigeria. The village hosts comprehensive girls' secondary school from where 25 schoolgirls were abducted in the early hours of Monday morning. A visit to the school shows the presence of security personnel stationed at the gate. Women continue to troop in and out of the school, some visiting the family of the vice principal who was killed, others hoping to catch a glimpse of the situation as tension remains high. At the home of the late vice principal, Mr. Hassan Makuku, family and friends are observing a second day of mourning for the family's breadwinner who left behind 9 children. His elder brother, Haliru, takes our crew around the house where the incident occurred. He appeals to the government to come to the aid of the family.
We need assistance. The late Malam left behind 9 children, 4 female, 5 male. Some are in secondary school while others have completed their education. The state government should help in giving them scholarship.
Although all students have been asked to leave the school for safety reasons, teachers still report for duty despite the absence of learners. The school has 6 hostel blocks, but the bandits whisked away students only from one of the blocks, Adamu Alero House.
As I mentioned earlier, that most of the parents are here. There is even one that fainted yesterday. She fainted here because they took 2 of her children. That is why I was saying we are begging the state government and the federal government, please, they should come to our aid and rescue these children. Because I believe the federal government can do it and the state government can do it. Let them come. Let us join hands together. We cannot do anything with the teachers.
The school's proximity to the forest, as visible from the perimeter fence, highlights how vulnerable the students were to security threats.
We take a break now on the program. Still to come. Hundreds of Santas from around the world parade through Tokyo to raise money for sick children. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Nigeria will have to go beyond formulating policies to executing strategies if it must be trade-ready in the emerging global order. This seemed to be the agreement at the NIIA Trade and Investment Forum 2025 at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in Lagos. Our correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, reports.
There's no way we're able to get to 1 trillion.
The NIIA Trade and Investment Forum 2025 was held under the theme Reform to Results, Building a Trade-Ready Nigeria in the Emerging Global Order. Organized by the Bashir Adeniyi Center for International Trade and Investment at the NIIA, it was an opportunity for experts in Nigeria trade and investment sector to rub minds on improving Nigeria's trade profile and ensure the reforms of the present government do not end up as mere policy.
If you look at Section 12 of the Nigerian Constitution, any agreement signed must come back to the National Assembly for domestication, so that when we have what of economic diplomacy, we only give. Whatever we do is not tied to trade. That is why Nigeria is losing.
Nigerian businesses must move from raw commodity trading to value chain participation. The future of export lies in processed inputs, not raw materials.
One of the things I find out from investors who are looking at coming into Nigeria is that we don't have data, we don't have insights. They're not able to price their risk. So if I'm not able to price my risk, how am I going to get my returns?
Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company, Bismarck Rawane, wraps up the conversation by highlighting the importance of trade and investment in boosting Nigeria's profile.
The largest trading partner in the world today is China, followed by the United States, followed by Germany, followed by Netherlands and Japan. It's telling you something. You can produce all the goods, but trade is what is going to be driving it.
The NIIA Director General, Professor Hossa Osaye, and Assistant Controller General of Nigeria Customs Service, Babatunde Olomu, who represented the Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Bashir Adeniyi, identified areas of focus for strengthening the Nigeria global market and reforms at the Nigeria ports to boost Nigeria's trade profile and increase foreign direct investment.
Our growth rates at the present time don't seem to suggest that we can meet that target. So there's a challenge there. We have to accelerate our economic growth and development, and we have to grow our capacities.
Article 3 of the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement makes it mandatory for Customs Administration to provide advance ruling to traders that are desirous of this before the arrival of cargo. So this is like a judgment, and before the cargo arrives, you have that ruling.
The conversations continue long after, as participants give even more honest opinions on the Nigeria situation. They hope it has not all been in vain. Amarachi Ubani.
Well, South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola, has confirmed that 42 nations and organizations will participate in the G20 summit that will be held in Johannesburg. Mr. Lamola also highlighted that 4 countries, including Russia, will not be represented by a head of state. Minister Lamola delivered the update during a media briefing in the Joburg city. The 2025 G20 Leaders Summit is set to take place on November 22 to 23 under South Africa's presidency.
The Leaders Summit will take place from the 22nd to the 23rd November 2025. The agenda of the summit will be anchored on the following 3 sessions, namely, Session 1, Inclusive and Sustainable Economic Growth, Leaving No One Behind. Building our economies, the role of trade, financing for development, and the debt burden. Session 2, A Resilient World, the G20's contributions, disaster risk reduction, climate change, just energy transition, food systems. And Session 3, A Fair and a Just Future for all critical minerals, decent work, and artificial intelligence. Preparations for the summit are on track with numerous heads of states and governments from the G20 member countries, including invited guest countries, have been confirmed for participation. Heads of international organizations In total, 42 countries are confirmed for participation at various levels. This includes 20 G20 members, excluding the United States, for reasons well known to you. 16 guest countries and 6 countries representing regional economic communities in Africa, the Caribbean, and East Africa.
And as we end the program today, hundreds of people from around the world have joined the annual Santa Parade in Tokyo, Japan. And it's to raise funds for sick children and bring festive cheer to the city. Participants dressed in traditional red Santa outfits marched a 2.5-kilometer route from Harajuku Station to Shibuya Station, waving to passers-by. Locals and tourists also stopped to take photos with the Jolly Santas at the Yoyogi Park. Official Santa Ambassador Matthew Edward said the world may be facing many challenges, but the parade provides a day to celebrate. The first Santa Parade in Japan was held in Osaka, and that was in 2009, and later expanded to Tokyo City. Through the efforts of the first parade, over 1,000 Christmas gifts were delivered to hospitalized children in the country.
It's the annual Tokyo Santa Parade here in Yoyogi Park. Today's going to be a wonderful day with thousands of people gathering, dressed up in Santa suits as we do a charity walk to support sick children in hospitals here in Japan. As you know, there's unfortunately, many bad things happening in the world always. But today we've got a beautiful day that we can celebrate, we can enjoy, and bring a lot of happiness to the world. So everybody, if you ever have a chance to come to this parade, it's one of a kind. So I hope someday you come.
There's obviously so much going on in the world right now and with everyone, and people are going through really hard struggles. So I think being able to find some time to celebrate with the people that you love and finding some love and happiness, and I hope that everyone can find that around the world. So Merry Christmas!
And that's it on the program for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.